Hello and welcome to the inaugural weekly podcast, Choppin It Up. I am your host, Frankie, and today we will talk about the right kind of politics, break down some Hollywood headlines, and provide you with an itinerary for your upcoming trip. This third week of June represents the second coming of my man Jesus, as I am joined by his doppelganger, Jeffrey Steiner.
Hello, everybody. Frankie, thanks for the introduction. It's always a pleasure. Giddy Up!
First off, I'd like to thank everyone for joining us in our first episode of Choppin It Up. And so before we get into our segments, I think it'd be wise if we first explained basically the name of the podcast, where that derives from, and a little bit of what we're trying to get accomplished in this podcast. So chopping it up. So you probably hear the word chop and you're like, what the hell is that? Well, this is a simple definition. The word chop means someone who fails to do normal tasks normally. And this word chop it's basically taken on a persona of its own.
We're really a community, really. That's what it is.
It really has.
Chop has grown out of control, but we felt like we needed to share it with the world.
It has delved into a bit of a community. It originated on the golf course. I did not come up with this term. A few of my friends that I play golf with often on the weekends, they would refer to someone who would quite literally chop up the grass as a chop, someone who was terrible at golf.
So someone like me you're talking about, Frankie. Really bad golfers.
Yeah, pretty much.
Got it, yeah.
That pretty much hits the nail on the head there. And so I kind of took that word chop with me into the dorm room this past year where Jeff and I were roommates, and it just kind of became just anyone, really. Became one of your boys. It became, the idiot that you saw in the bar that puked on the ground. It really became anyone. We're
very welcoming. Everybody is a brother to us. As long as you're making it a chop move, that's all we care about.
Yeah, we want to see chop moves. That's really...
It's embarrassing, but it's loving, Yeah,
that's what it is. So, is there anything else you'd like to add about this?
No, I think you covered it. Thank you for listening to Chopping It Up, and we hope you enjoy the ride. I think it's probably a good time to get started with our first segment. We call this one Off the Cuff. This is where we take the opportunity to really get something off of our chest, something that's been bothering us in the past week. And mine is kind of a hot topic in the headlines, especially in the sport headlines nowadays. It's the whole deal with the NCAA and not paying athletes.
Don't get me started on this, Jeffrey.
So I just want to get this off of my chest. Athletic scholarships are a wonderful thing. If kids want to go to college and get a degree and play sports while they do it, that's wonderful. Should be available to them. But this whole bullshit of doing 1 year of college to give them a taste of the college experience, maybe in the hopes that they're going to pursue a degree in case their athletic career doesn't work out, it's all a facade. I don't buy it. Because, I've been to college, I've seen these kids, they're not getting the college experience, they're not getting the true sense of academia. It's, they're coddled, they're expected to maintain low GPAs.
You mean the free subway isn't the college experience?
I mean, well, for me sometimes, but
okay.
But these kids, they're not getting what you would expect to get out of a degree, and so I think it would be better if they just set up a league, make them have the opportunity to get some money, get sponsorships and, put it on TV.
You sound like LeVar. So the JBA is what you're saying.
How dare you? JBA, you know what?
You love the JBA.
I love it. I love the idea.
You love it.
Because I think it's an insult to academia to think that these kids are getting anything out of this 1 year of college where they're not even getting the real academic experience. And I don't know. I would prefer, if they're going to pursue athletics, just let them do their thing, man. That's that's my take on it.
I agree completely. I think that there's
look at that.
Yeah, no, I know this. That might not happen often.
No, I was
on this podcast, but I agree completely, and I think that I don't know why the NCAA in the first place got away from if you're good enough, the LeBron James, the Carmelo Anthony, the Kevin Garnett. If you're good enough out of high school, just go to the NBA and make money. I mean, how is that different from someone who's talented in the acting world, a talented singer, a talented rapper,
or someone who goes to a trade school? They start their career right out of school.
They start exactly, and they're
if
making
they have
money.
A talent, they have something,
and they're
that
making
they
money
enjoy.
on their skill. Why do they need to go to college? I don't understand it. And if you're gonna make them go to college, give them the choice. If they want to go out of high school and make a lot of money, then that's what they should be able to do. And if they choose to go to college, and they need to go for at least 2 years, because that means that their freshman year they need to make sure that they don't fail out, so that they have eligibility the next year.
Okay.
And so that would be my that's kind of the quick fix. My longer fix, something that would probably never happen because NCAA athletics are so much ingrained in American society that we would never do it, is that the model that the English
youth academies.
Basically the youth academies in Europe, specifically with football, or as we call it here in America, soccer. Kids are basically enter these youth academies when they're 11, 12 years old. They go to school within these youth academies, but their main focus is to play soccer and to ultimately make a lot of money playing soccer one day. They're not entering the Arsenal Youth Academy so that they can become a marketing agent for O2 in England. Like, that's just not happening.
Right.
So I think that that's the longer fix, and I do think that it is a problem because, we joke about these student athletes and how much they're not students, and I just, I think everyone's fooling.
And here's the thing. College is always there. I'm a big proponent of college. I'm in graduate school. I love college.
Humble brag right there.
Yeah, got to throw them in every once in a while. But the reality is, let these kids, when they're in the prime of their life and their athletic prime, let them pursue the athletic career. And if it doesn't work out, they can go back to college later. If you make them waste time in college when they could be developing as an athlete, getting contracts, professional contracts, they should be doing that when they're young. I think it's ridiculous.
No, I agree, and I think we're on the same page with this one. Okay, so for my off the cuff, this one is a bit less serious. Actually, very, very much less serious.
The polar opposite is what you're talking about.
And the only reason I thought of this was because I was on Instagram about 2 hours before we started this podcast, and I saw a picture of a very attractive female. A close-up picture of her breast region.
Oh, Francis.
And guess what the caption was?
I couldn't even begin to guess.
Guess. Just please, give me one guess.
New haircut.
New haircut is close. It was actually... I dropped my phone in the water today, but the seashells looked very nice.
How did she take the picture? Didn't ruin her phone?
Yeah, I don't know.
I want some backstory.
I don't know, but I read that caption and I was like, oh, these must be some very nice seashells. Those did not look like very nice.
That is not an innuendo.
No, not at all. That did not look like very nice seashells. And, we're in that season where girls they love posting the pictures on Instagram of their body. And, that's great. We should embrace everyone's body. But, maybe a caption like enjoy or here it is or something like that. Which is the main point of your Instagram post. This is just something that really has been like.
Oh, you don't like the subtlety? Is that what you're telling me?
Every summer I come across this same issue, and I just thought this was a perfect starting off point for the off the cuff.
Okay, I love it.
Okay, and so now moving to our third segment of today's show, we have the right kind of politics. And so today, what we're going to look at is the recent summit in Singapore between the president of North Korea, or maybe leader, or maybe supreme leader, we're not really sure, Kim Jong-un, and the president of the United States, Donald Trump. And so at this summit, basically what happened was the two met, they shook hands, they smiled for the cameras, and they talked about how peaceful everything was going to be. Did they sign anything? No.
Nothing really happened here, folks.
And so to get our immediate reactions and opinions, we're going to send this one over to Mr. Steiner.
Well, okay. See, here's the thing. It was a hell of a summit. Kim Jong-un, sent to Singapore by the Chinese government, which I thought was interesting. He arrives on a Chinese plane. He has his translators. He has his ever noticeable troop of bodyguards.
Oh my God. Can we talk about that for a second? I mean, how good a shape do you need to be to be one of Kim Jong-un's bodyguards?
Kim Jong-un was actually quoted as saying that he likes his bodyguards young, handsome, and fit. Ooh. Which, who can blame him?
They did look young, handsome, and fit in those videos.
Running alongside that limousine.
Yeah, that's really quite a move. But what did you think about the actual meetings and how those went?
Well, I think President Trump really nailed it. He's the first president.
He always does.
Always, of course. He's the first president that I'm aware of to have met with a North Korean leader face to face.
I think he is. You're absolutely correct there.
He focused on putting on the show, which is it's good. He's broadcasting to the world that
that's how he became famous.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I wasn't aware.
Yeah, he's really good in front of the camera. He's someone we really want, leading our country.
Yeah, of course, naturally. I saw a video of him. He was posing for a photo, and he said, he dropped a very subtle weight joke. I think that Kim Jong-un caught up on. He said everybody wants to look beautiful, handsome, skinny in front of the camera, and then he looks over at Kim Jong-un with a slight glance, and I don't think
that might have rubbed him the wrong way.
It might have rubbed him, but really just a touch of class by
President
Trump.
He'll still keep that peace for sure. He'll never have any reason that he would want to maybe harm the United States or show how powerful North Korea is. He'd never want to do that.
Well, he might have nukes, but we have more. Isn't that the typical narrative?
Yeah, but even though we didn't sign any paperwork, he's still gonna honor it. And you know why? Do you know why he's gonna honor it?
Why?
Because President Trump trusts him, and that's all that matters. And he trusts President Trump, and that's the only piece of paperwork that I need to hear to have faith in our president.
Yeah, who needs signatures on a paper when you can just do a verbal agreement to end military drills and just give them the clothes right off your back?
Right, and you know that probably in less than 10 years, there's going to be Trump hotels in North Korea. And that is something that, Obama wasn't going to have hotels in North Korea. That was never going to happen. And so Trump, I see this as a step up already.
Trump makes a wonderful point to Kim Jong-un. You have China, the world's premier economic power. They run the show. And then you have South Korea, an up-and-coming economy. They make up a huge portion of the world's trade, and they're very popular in the West. And then you have North Korea in the middle. This prime real estate for Chinese businessmen, Chinese travelers wanting to visit Seoul, which I believe is only about 35 miles off the southern border of North Korea. Of course, that's where you're going to want to put a hotel. I mean, if I'm traveling somewhere, I want to stay at a hotel that's 35 miles away from the place where I'm visiting. It only makes sense.
That's less than an hour ride. You can't beat that.
Can't beat that for the beautiful beaches of North Korea.
But Jeff, you know what really impressed me?
What's that, Frank?
The European Union, Russia, South Korea, and all of the other United Nations, they all thought that this summit was a positive step in the right direction towards peace. And you know what I see in the future? I see President Trump winning the Nobel Peace Prize.
Oh, undoubtedly. And President Trump, he's a real celebrity in our hearts, and I think it's a good time to segue into our next segment, the Hollywood for Dummies segment, where we address various Hollywood headlines and break them down, because we don't really know much about Hollywood.
Oh, we know nothing.
Nothing at all. And so we figured, why not just take the top stories and just see what we can work with. So I'm going here to HollywoodReporter.com, and I'm just going to pull some headlines, and you tell me what you think, Frank. So our first one here, Jerry Springer, future uncertain as production halts after 27 years. Jerry Springer, he's an icon. His show, done? What's going on there?
What? I have a question.
What's that?
Whatever comes out of these stories from Jerry Springer? These people go on Jerry Springer, and the girlfriend ends up getting into a fight with the guy's ex-girlfriend, and there's just a whole lot going on.
And the DNA test always shows that he's not the father.
He's not the father, so they all walk out of the Hollywood set in the room, and they walk, dude. They just walk down the street and go get lunch together. I mean, what happens? I can see why the future is uncertain because maybe like everyone's starting to hit each other afterwards. They get outside and there's just widespread fighting going on.
There's no broad entertainment value.
You don't see an end result. We're in a society where we like entertainment, but we want to know what happens next. Jerry Springer, you never know what happens next. Maybe we can get, maybe someone could start something where they follow these people around with some cameras and we get a little reality 2.0.
See the Steve Wilkos show.
Maybe that's where he goes after the 27 years of this show shutting down, is we go into a 2.0 Jerry Springer.
Oh, I love it. I love the idea. And you said, why do people go on the shows? I think the main reason why people go on the show is to get their 15 minutes of fame. And speaking of 15 minutes of fame, we have another headline here. Farrah Abraham, remember her, the Octomom? Gave out 8 babies. Says she was targeted for being a celebrity at Beverly Hills Hotel. Can you believe that? Beverly Hills, full of celebrities, yet somehow she's targeted. I don't know what to make of that.
There's only one thing I can think of why she'd be targeted.
It's the babies, isn't it?
I think it is the babies. I think it's all 8 of them.
All right, real question. Do you think that she has a quadruple wide twin stroller, pushes all 8 of them like a gigantic line, or do you think that she has a squadron of people, each one pushing a baby?
I think she
How
has,
do you travel with that?
I think she has 2 sets of 4. So what would those be?
2 sets of 4. She's pushing one with each.
Pushing
one, pulling one.
No, so she's pushing with both hands. It's like a workout. She doesn't have to go to the gym.
Oh my gosh, maybe that's why she was targeted. She's so muscular.
Yeah,
she just stands out.
Maybe
in the
they're
crowd.
like, this. Who is this girl? She's looking really fit, and she looks a lot fitter than a lot of these Hollywood celebrities. But yes, that is absolutely ridiculous that you would be targeted in a Beverly Hills hotel, which is obviously going to be frequented by celebrities all the time.
I'm pretty sure they don't let non-celebrities into Beverly Hills. I've never been to Beverly Hills, but that's just the way it seems.
I mean, we're not celebrities. That's why we haven't been there.
Well, speaking of celebrities, we have another headline here. Pete Davidson. I have no idea who that is. Do you know who that is?
Is he the comedian? Pete Davidson? Was he? I think I saw him on a roast. I think he was a comedian.
Well, if he's a comedian, he's probably not very funny because I've never heard of him. But either way, it says the headline, Pete Davidson spent this much on Ariana Grande's engagement ring. Any guesses, Frank? How much do you think he spent on the ring? Give me a ballpark.
Ballpark? Let's go 3K.
3K? I'm pretty sure that's standard fare. Don't they say 3 months of your salary? I mean, this guy's a comedian, Frank. He must be well known. We've never heard of him, but somebody must have. I'm gonna say 25. Let's just hit it out of the park. 25,000. Let's take a look at this.
Gee, I think it's less.
You think it's
yeah.
$100,000.
$100,000 on a ring.
Oh my word!
And there's only one thing you can say to this. Are you nuts?
How do you have that much money thrown around on a ring?
I mean,
let's be honest. You could get some cubic zirconium for much cheaper. And will she know the difference? Probably not. I don't think she's a geologist. Ariana Grande. She's a singer.
You could even get some nice.
Although, I gotta be honest. I don't know what she does in her spare time. Maybe she is up on geology.
You can't make.
I've never met the woman.
Can't rush the judgment there. But yes, that is just that's a ludicrous amount of money to spend on a ring. That, are we serious here? He shouldn't even be marrying a girl that cares that much about a ring that he would have to spend that much money. If a girl cares that much about a ring, she's just not the one. That's just ridiculous.
Well, diamonds are a girl's best friend, Frank. Let's not get too hasty.
You can't talk to him.
The girl or the ring?
The ring.
Oh, I was about to say.
Hard to get a response from the ring.
I was about to say. Well, I think that's enough from the Hollywood headlines, and I think this is a good point. I don't know about you, if you have anything else you want to say about this, but I think it's a good point to stop and read a word from our first sponsor. So, I think we're going to take a break here.
This episode is brought to you by the 2nd Annual Chop Classic, Southeastern Connecticut's premier below-average amateur golf tournament. If you want to check out the action on July 1st, follow chop.classic, that's chop.classic on Instagram for field updates and tournament information. And we're back. So moving on, we're going to transition to our fifth segment, which is Around the World with Jeffrey Steiner. And what's going to happen in this segment is Jeffrey Steiner is going to make a trip itinerary for you. It's going to be 4 days, 3 nights, and it's going to be in a country that basically I put my finger on.
We have a globe here on the desk, and it's a nice globe. It's got a yellow background. It's very colorful. I don't know if the borders are up to date. These countries, they change all the time, but this should be fun, and I promise you guys.
Is Kosovo on there?
Kosovo. I don't.
It's not.
It's not. You're not going to Kosovo. But we promised you a travel itinerary, and I'll do my best to plan your next vacation. Tell the wife and kids. So,
all right, so here we go.
Let's get this
How
ball
about you
rolling.
spin it, and I'll close my eyes.
All right,
and
I'll spin it. All right. Globe is spinning, and
there it is.
China.
We're going to China.
We're going to China. Okay, 4 days, 3 nights in China. Let's do our research here. China, one of the world's biggest economies, lots of different climates. There's a mountainous region in the south. What's not to love about China? Well, if you're a fan of Xi Jinping, you got to visit the capital, Beijing. It's a city with great historic significance. They have tons of modern architecture. I'm a civil engineer, so architecture really gets me going. And if you're into
really
those kind
moves
of
the
things,
needle.
yeah,
really.
yeah, of course. And so you could visit the historic Forbidden City. That's a day in and of itself. That thing's huge. So first day, you're flying in. I'm assuming that you got a long day in, but you know what? You're traveling right away. You flew in the morning. You're ready to go. You go to Beijing.
Slept on the plane, good to go.
Slept on the plane, had a few drinks, didn't get kicked off miraculously, but you're ready to go. Beijing is where you're starting off. You're getting a tour of the Forbidden City. You're grabbing lunch in downtown. You're feeling the vibrancy of the city. It's lively. It's up
very
up
cloudy.
Coming.
Very
yeah,
cloudy.
yeah. Go see Tiananmen Square.
Yep.
That's a place you got to see.
Hopefully, there's no tanks there.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, there might be people standing, but hopefully no tanks.
Right.
And maybe visit the Museum of China while you're there. That's day one, where we go at nighttime. You're tired. You're not going to see the nightlife. You're just chilling at the hotel. Day two, I think you need to go. If I'm in day two, I say you move from Beijing and you go over towards the Himalayas. Go to the backcountry of China. When people think about China, there's two polar opposites. There's the new businessy side of China where they're making a ton of money and everything's modern. They're building cities, and then there's the rustic China. That's where you're gonna meet
the emperors. Yeah,
I don't think you'll meet any emperors, but you get the idea. This is where the farmers live. This is where you're gonna find the medicine man who's gonna try to sell you snake oil. But you know what? You're on vacation.
But it might work.
You buy that snake oil.
It might work.
First opportunity.
So we go to the countryside. Day 2. Where are we going? Day 3.
That's tough. I think day 3, you got to do something fun. You got to do.
What about the Great Wall? Is that a day 4?
That's
thing?
a day 4. You
Okay.
You finish with a bang.
Okay.
Day 3, I think you. Let's see what we have here. Oh, you could go on a tour of Lantau Island in Hong Kong. Hong Kong.
Oh,
that's it. That's my day 3.
Gotta go to Hong Kong.
Formerly under British rule up until 2012, Hong Kong, China.
Pretty much its own country.
Pretty much. But it is in China. Fair warning. It's on the itinerary in China. Hong Kong, lots of skyscrapers, great nightlife. Third night, that's where you're going for the nightlife. You're going out.
You're going wild. You only got one more day left. It's your last night there.
You're trying the bars. There's neon lights everywhere. You're having a good time. Hong Kong, China, day 3. So we started off in Beijing. We did the historical tour. Then we went, boom, rustic China, up in the mountains. I think there's the Forbidden Steps. I don't remember what it's called. The hike you can go on with steps way up into the mountains.
Yeah.
Scare the shit out of me, but hey, I'd try it.
Oh, you don't like heights? Not a big heights guy?
Not a big heights guy. I'd try it. When in China, as they say. Day 3, Hong Kong. We're experiencing the nightlife. Day/night, whatever. 4th day, this is where you finish strong. Great Wall. you got to see it. Don't steal a brick. I'm pretty sure they frown upon that. But you got to go. You got to take the stereotypical Instagram selfie on the Great Wall. Can you see me?
With a relevant caption.
Relevant caption. Can you see me from the International Space Station? And tag an astronaut. Because, you only get this opportunity one time. And, then you go back to whatever country you came from. Maybe you came from China, I don't know. But you go back, you tell your friends about what a great time they had. They comment on your Instagram picture, and you have a ton of laughs about the people you met, the places you saw.
What more
China,
can you ask for?
It's a real destination. I've never been. I would personally love to go, but I think it's beautiful. China, that's the place to be. Book it for your next vacation. Flights are cheap if you book in advance. Just don't fly Southwest because they're a little dicey right now. I don't know. Engine failures.
That is west, though.
But not south.
Or is it east?
Where are you coming from? You're right.
I don't know.
You're right. Book a plane that you feel comfortable with and get going. Grab the family. You're going to China.
That sounds good.
Cue the gong. We don't have a gong, but if you have one, bring it along. All right. What do you think, Frankie? We went on our travel trip to China. I think it's time for our 6th segment of the day. We call this one Spielberg's Sound System. So in this one, we take a popular song. In this case, we're going with the U.S. Top 50. The song on Spotify, that is. U.S. Top 50 on Spotify. We're going with Lucid Dreams.
Which is number one.
Number one.
Neither of us have heard this song.
Nope. Never in our lives. We listened to it a little bit before the show. It's interesting. I felt the beat. I thought it was good. Lucid Dreams by Juice WRLD. So in this segment, we take the first line of the song, first lyric, and we tap into our inner Steven Spielberg. We build a movie plot based off of the first lyric. So, Frankie, I'm going to let you start. First lyric of the song. You ready for this? Do you have the creative juices flowing?
I don't know. I'm sure we'll get there. We'll get there.
He's a podcaster, not a movie guy, but we'll try. The first lyric of the song, I still see your shadows in my room. Make me a blockbuster film off of that.
I still see your shadows in my room.
What's the plot line?
Well, Steiner, I think this one's pretty easy. I think this is a young kid. Okay, he's growing up, so he's probably, maybe 6 years old. Okay, his mom, she would come into his room to tuck him in at night. Maybe when he was even younger, she'd read him a book or sing him a little song to help him fall asleep. So, for me, this is a kid when he's He's maybe 8 years old at this point, and he's recalling those memories of seeing the shadows of the mom in his room when it's dark out, and she's leaving the room to go to bed.
There's a shadow when it's dark out. Is it from the lights in the room?
It's just from the reflection of the hallway light seeking under the door.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean.
Like the door might be cracked a little bit, and so there's a little light coming in.
Oh, mom's coming in. So, these are the fond memories.
And so you see that shadow in your room, and you're about to hear a story, and then maybe that's when she's first coming into the room, and then she's leaving, and that's when you see the shadows leaving the room. So for me, it's an 8-year-old. It's easy.
You just a movie about an 8-year-old being told bedtime.
It's just recalling the memories. It's recalling the memories.
Did something happen to the mom
of the childhood?
What's the climax of this film?
The climax.
Or is it just he's just telling campfire stories about his mom?
I think
how wonderful she is.
I see where you're going with this. I think a climax could be, everything is coming full circle. I don't want to get all sad here. But maybe the mom has gotten much older, so it kind of like is a fast forward to the life, and now the kid is taking care of his mom, and so he's seeing his shadow enter the room. Like when he's taking care of his mom in the later years. So yeah, now they...
Wow. Okay. Wow. Goosebumps.
Steiner just looked at me in the eye, and I think he might be crying a little bit
that
here.
That left me breathless. I'm a little...
But so that's where I'm going with
I'm
that
a little
lyric.
Overwhelmed.
So where are you going with your lyric? Well, I mean, it's the same lyric, Steiner. Where are you going with your movie? If you're Spielberg, what are you doing with that?
I think of a couple ideas here. If you want to, my first thought was going with like the romantic movie. It's a young gentleman or perhaps a young woman. Let's go with a young woman. We'll be a little bit different for Frankie's movie here. Young woman, love of her life, I don't care, man, woman, child, doesn't matter. Not child, man or woman. Doesn't matter.
We don't want that.
No, unless it's a documentary or something, and then it's crime. I don't know. Love of her life. They live together. She sees same deal, shadow in the room, but it's not an actual shadow. It's more of an emotional shadow. He passed away. He was a soldier, maybe a soldier, and the shadow's in her room, and it's a movie about her trying to rebuild her life, and the shadow in the room is the memories of the place, but she carries on. She has to live there. She can't, doesn't have the means to move forward, and it's a
And she just, I feel what you're
it's
saying.
It's a rejuvenating tale. Her life it's a story about how she's picking the pieces back up of her, the pieces of her life back up.
But it's difficult because of these shadows that are lingering.
But but in this journey, she finds herself, she finds her calling, and it's empowering. And at the end of the film, she's able to move forward. She's able to come to terms with the movie, and it's a feel good film. That's what it is.
Feel good film. We like feel good films.
Yeah, we do. So. That's we're not Spielberg's, but we give it a try, So
yeah, I mean, I am Jewish though, if that counts.
Is he Jewish?
Yeah, did you know Spielberg's Jewish?
I guess I should have gotten maybe
the
from
Berg.
Name. Yeah,
dead giveaway.
Maybe
dead giveaway, but you never know. I mean,
one thing you share. That's
so
pretty
we're getting there. We're getting there.
Okay.
Okay, and so for our final segment of
is that time already?
It's that time already. The final segment of the first annual. Not annual,
weekly.
Yeah, we need to have higher hopes. We need to have higher hopes than that. Our first podcast, we have If I Were President. And the backstory behind this is pretty simple, ladies and gentlemen.
President's pretty powerful, yeah.
President's pretty powerful, but last year we would sit in the dorm room, and Jeff Steiner pretty much probably twice a day would come to me, and he's like, I'm going to be president one day.
I started a whole campaign. It stemmed off of I had never watched House of Cards, and I was binge watching House of Cards. I'd come home from class, and I dedicated an hour to watching an episode.
Some days he wouldn't even go to class, and it was.
I did skip class a couple times to watch House of Cards. Don't judge me, world. Don't judge me. It's a good show. It was a good show. Got canceled. There's some controversy there. We won't get into it. House of Cards, good show.
I don't know. Do you know why it got canceled?
Yeah, Kevin Spacey's a pedophile.
Uh-uh.
Yes, dude. You missed this whole deal?
I guess we'll figure that one out. I'll look that up after.
It's been figured out. You're way behind. Oh. Anyway, so I started a fictional campaign of my running for president in the 2040s, and we used to have all kinds of conversations about what we would do if we were president, both serious and not so serious. So we figured the best way to go about this would be to bring it into our show and just share some of our ideas. So Frankie, if you were president right now, all the power of the United States backing you, what would you do?
I think I would, and this appeals to me, but I think this appeals to much of the population of this country, is that, okay, it's understood that most people work 40-hour weeks, right? I think we'll come to those terms.
Yep.
And we'll use that as the model for this
it's unfortunate.
For this specific idea. But I think that people should be able to choose the 40 hours that they work, right? So if they want to sleep in till 10 o'clock, that's fine. They go into the office at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, and they work till 5 o'clock. And maybe they do that 6 days a week, and they're working more days a week, but they're doing it on their terms.
Happier workers.
And if you're happier and you're doing maybe you actually want to wake up and go to that job because you're not so tired at 6:30 in the morning to go to work. I mean, did you ever think of that? Maybe you hate going to work because you're waking up, not because you hate the job. And so I think that could maybe add to a little more enthusiasm in the workplace, a little more production, and could really get our country producing at a rate that we need.
Labor relations. That's the cornerstone of your platform.
Absolutely.
Frankie, maybe you're making the run for 2040s. I love it. Labor relations.
I've heard that's a kind of a model that they use in California, and I don't want to speak for the rest of the country, but I think California is relatively successful in getting things done.
Yeah, and pretty progressive too.
Yeah.
I think they actually have a system like that. I want to say Germany. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure there are some countries in the European
which has progressed
Union.
at a pretty high rate. If I'm If I'm not
Germany's
mistaken.
they're killing it right now.
Yeah. So what's your idea?
Well, hold on. I have something to say here.
Oh, okay.
Germany. I'm pretty sure it's Germany. They have a system in place where they have workers only work 6-hour days. It might be Italy. I don't know. It's one of those countries. I don't know.
It's one of the countries that may have won the World Cup back in the day,
or maybe winning the World Cup this year.
Let's not digress.
Go France. That's all I'm going to say. But they work 6-hour work days. 30 hours a week is full time. But they're expected to get a lot more done.
Right.
So they don't spend time standing around the water
or
cooler.
Going on Facebook or making spreadsheets for fantasy football.
I think that term is gold bricking. Gold bricking, when you use a computer and you're getting paid to be on the computer.
Yeah, or the 4 breaks. You need 4 breaks.
Oh,
through an 8. Yeah, we know how it goes. Everyone knows how it goes.
I love it. I think it's a great idea. I think it has a lot of merit, and I'd vote for you. Okay. So, all right, if I were president, you asked what I wanted. So, I'm big into space.
Well, you're gonna be president. So.
Yeah, it's happening, folks. It's happening. I'm big into space. You know this. They're about to know this. One of my biggest pet peeves, and I think it really is more of a failure of the education system, is the rise of the flat Earth theory. Which I'm just going to say this right off the bat, folks. Flat Earth. The Earth is not flat. We've proved it 1,000,001 ways that the Earth is. Well, it's not quite a sphere. It's a little flattened, so the equator's out a little bit more, but it's not flat. Borderline. That's it. No, end of story, no argument. It is not a flat Earth. But there's been a rise in popular culture.
You mean I can't run through a mountain?
I don't think that's how it works. I don't think that's how. I mean, maybe you can. I believe in you. You can do anything you set your mind to. But no, you can't run through a mountain. Not flat. And it's really gotten a rise in popular media, popular culture lately, and it's like I said, it's a failure of the education system. I think people don't understand the basic tenets of science, and so they gravitate. They want to have an understanding of the world, and so they gravitate towards these conspiracy theories that some of them may have a grain of truth.
Global warming isn't real. So
okay. All right. Well, I'll let you have that opinion. We won't even go down this road. We don't. I don't think we have enough time in the podcast.
We'll save that one for the right kind of politics next week.
Sounds good to me. But a big proponent of this flat Earth theory is my man on the Boston Celtics, Kyrie Irving. And it's frustrating because I love watching the guy play and I love hearing him talk. I enjoy interviews. Afterwards, I like listening to the players talk because it makes me feel like I'm developing at least some sense of a rapport with them. But if I were president, you know what I'd do?
You definitely would have a rapport with them if you were president. You would have that power.
Yeah, well, maybe if they're willing to come to the White House afterwards. But
well, maybe they'd like you.
Maybe. I don't know. I'd hope so.
I think Marc Gasol would come see you.
Yeah, probably. I look just like him.
Yeah.
So if I were president, here's what I'd do. I would take Kyrie Irving. He's already fit. He doesn't need to be through the endurance training. I'd put him on a spaceship, and I'd send him up to space and say, would you look at that? Would you just look at that, Kyrie? End of story. No more flat Earth. Because he has a platform, and, he
all you need is a platform.
He might be joking. I don't know. He might actually believe it. But, when he says, I think the Earth is flat, thousands of young kids then think that the Earth is flat because he's their role model. And I think that's a real problem. So bring him up to space. Space is pretty. It's getting safer. It's not dangerous.
Yeah,
no, it's dangerous, but
it's getting there.
It's getting there. Elon Musk, he's helping. SpaceX.
I mean, he'll probably come back with he might tear his ACL or something, like some knee injury. He might come back with, but other than that,
I hope not. I hope there's no crashes.
Yeah, no. I think it'll just be a little knee injury.
He's a pretty tall guy though. It might be
a little microscopic surgery, and I think he'd be good.
Oh yeah, well, yeah. What's new?
Right.
Am I right? So I say, Kyrie, you're going to space. Congratulations, heck of a view.
All right,
Jeffrey Steiner, president in the 2040s.
Vote for him. Let's go.
Vote for it.
So we got flat Earth theory out and better working hours. Those are our 2 ideas for today. If we were president, we really hope that you enjoyed this podcast, and we will be back next week with our second episode of Choppin' It Up. Thanks. guys.
Thanks, everybody.